Environmental issues. Human population size has grown enormously over the last 100 years. This means increase in demand for food, water, home, electricity, roads, automobile, and numerous other commodities. These demands are exerting tremendous pressure on our natural resources and are also contributing the pollution of air, water, and soil. The need of the hour is to check the degradation and depletion of our precious natural resources and pollution without halting the process of development. Pollution is any undesirable change in physical, chemical, or biological characteristics of air, land, water, or soil. Agents that bring about such an undesirable change are called as pollutants. In order to control environmental pollution, the Government of India has passed the Environmental Protection Act 1986 to protect and improve the quality of our environment, air, water, and soil. Air pollution and its control. We are dependent on air for our respiratory needs. Air pollutants cause injury to all living organisms. They reduce growth and yield of crops and cause premature death of plants. Air pollutants also deleteriously affect the respiratory system of human and animal. Harmful effects depend on the concentration of pollutant, duration of exposure, and the organism. Smoke tax of thermal power plant, smelter, and other industries release in particulate and gaseous air pollutant together with harmless gases such as nitrogen, oxygen, etc. This pollutant must be separated or filtered out before releasing the harmless gases into the atmosphere. There are several ways of removing particulate matter. The most widely used of which is the electrostatic precipitator, which can remove over 99% particulate matter present in the exhaust from a thermal power plant. It has electrode wires that are maintained at several thousand volts, which produce a corona that releases electrons. These electrons attach to dust particles, giving them a net negative charge. The collecting plates are grounded and attract the charged dust particle. The velocity of air between the plates must be low enough to allow the dust to fall. A scrubber can remove gases like sulfur dioxide. In a scrubber, the exhaust is passed through a spray of water or lime. Recently, we have realized the danger of particulate matter that are very small and are not removed by the precipitator. According to Central Pollution Control Board, particulate size 2.5 micrometer or less in diameter, PM 2.5, are responsible for causing the greatest harm to human health. These fine particulates can be inhaled deep into the lungs and can cause breathing and respiratory symptoms, irritation, inflammation, and damage to the lung and premature death. Automobiles are a major cause for atmospheric pollution, at least in the metro cities. As the number of vehicles increases in the street, this problem is now shifting to the other cities to proper maintenance of the automobile along with the use of lead-free petrol or diesel can reduce the pollutant they emit. Catalytic converters having expensive metals, namely platinum, palladium, and rhodium as the catalyst, are fitted into automobiles for reducing emission of poisonous gases. As the exhaust passes through the catalytic converter, unburned hydrocarbon are converted into carbon dioxide and water, and carbon monoxide and nitric oxide are changed to carbon dioxide and nitrogen gas, respectively. Motor vehicles equipped with catalytic converters should use unleaded petrol because lead in the petrol inactivates the catalyst. In India, the Air Prevention and Control Pollution Act came into force in 1981 but was amended in 1987 to include the noise as an air pollutant. Noise is undesired high level of sound. We have got used to associating loud sound with pleasure and entertainment, not really realizing that noise causes psychological and physiological disorder in humans. The bigger the city, the bigger the function, the greater the noise. A brief exposure of the to extremely high sound level, 150 decibel or more, generated by takeoff of a jet plane or rocket, may damage eardrum, thus permanently impairing hearing ability. Even chronic exposure to relatively lower noise level of cities may permanently damage hearing ability of human. Noise also causes sleeplessness, increased heartbeat, altered breathing pattern, thus considerably stressing human. Considering the many dangerous effects of noise pollution, can you identify the unnecessary source of noise pollution around you which can be reduced immediately without any financial loss of anybody? Reduction of noise in our industries can be effected by use of sound absorbent materials or by muffling noise. Stringent following of law laid down in relation to the noise, like delimitation of horn-free zone around hospital and school, permissible sound level of crackers and of loudspeaker, timing after which loudspeaker can be played, etc., need to be enforced to protect ourselves from noise pollution. Controlling vehicle air pollution, a case study of Delhi. With its very large population of vehicular traffic, Delhi leads the country in its level of air pollution. It has more cars than the state of Gujarat and West Bengal put together. In the 1990s, Delhi ranked 4th among the 41 most populated cities of the world. Air pollution problem in Delhi became so seriously that a public interest litigation (PIL) was filed in the Supreme Court of India after being censured very strongly by Supreme Court. Under its directive, the government was asked to take within a specified time period appropriate measure, including switching over the entire fleet of public transport, that is buses, from diesel to compressed natural gas (CNG). All the buses of Delhi were converted to run on CNG by end of 2002. You may ask the question as to why CNG is better than diesel. The answer is that CNG burned most efficiently, unlike petrol or diesel in the automobiles, and very little in its left unburned. Moreover, CNG is cheaper than petrol or diesel, cannot be siphoned off by pipes and adulterate like petrol or diesel. The main problem with switching over to CNG is difficult to laying down pipeline to deliver CNG through distribution point, pump, and ensuring uninterrupted supply. Simultaneously, parallel steps taken in Delhi for reducing vehicular pollution, including phasing out of old vehicles, use of unleaded petrol, use of low sulfur petrol and diesel, use of catalytic converter in vehicle, application of stringent pollution levels norm for vehicle, etc. The Government of India, through a new auto fuel policy, has laid out a roadmap to cut down vehicular pollution in Indian cities. More stringent norm for fuel means steadily reducing the sulfur and aromatic content in petrol and diesel fuel. Euro 3 norms, for example, stipulate that sulfur be controlled at 350 part per million ppm in diesel and 150 ppm in petrol. Aromatic hydrocarbon are to be contained at 42% of the concerned fuel. The goal, according to roadmap, it is to reduce sulfur to 50 ppm in petrol and diesel and bring down the level of 35%. Corresponding to the fuel vehicle engine will also need to be upgraded. Mass emission standard Bharat Stage 2, which is equivalent to Euro 2 norm, are no more applicable in any of the cities of India. Details of the latest emission standard in India are provided below. Four-wheeler Bharat Stage 4 throughout the country since April 2017. Three-wheeler Bharat Stage 4 throughout the country since 1st April 2017. Two-wheeler Bharat Stage 4 throughout the country since April 2017. Thanks to the effort made, the air quality of Delhi has significantly improved. According to an estimate, a substantial fall of carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide level has been found in Delhi between 1997 and 2005. Water pollution and its control. Human beings have been abusing the water bodies around the world by disposing into them all kinds of waste. We tend to believe that water can wash away everything, not taking cognizance of the fact that water bodies are our lifeline as well as that of all other living organisms. Can you list what all we tend to try and wash away through our rivers and drains? Due to such activities of humankind, the pond, lakes, streams, rivers, estuaries and oceans are becoming polluted in several parts of the world. Realizing the importance of maintaining the cleanliness of water bodies, the Government of India has passed the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974 to safeguard our water resources, domestic sewages and industrial effluent. As we work with water in our home, in the cities and towns, we wash everything into drains. Have you ever wondered where the sewages that come out of our house go? What happens in villages is the sewages treated before being transported to nearest river and mixed with it. A mere 0.1% impurities make domestic sewage unfit for human use. You have read sewage treatment plant in chapter 10. Solid are relatively easy to remove, that is the most difficult to remove are dissolved salts such as nitrates, phosphate and other nutrients and toxic metal, ion and organic compound. Domestic sewage primarily contains biodegradable organic matter which readily decomposes thanks to bacteria and other microorganisms which can multiply using this organic substance as substrate and hence utilize some of the component of sewage. It is possible to estimate the amount of biodegradable organic matter in sewage water by measuring biochemical oxygen demand BOD. Can you explain how? In the chapter on microorganisms, you have read about the relation between BOD, microorganism and amount of biodegradable matter. Figure show some of the changes that one may notice following discharge of sewage into river. Microorganisms involved in the biodegradable of organic matter in receiving water body consume a lot of oxygen and as a result there is a sharp decline in dissolved oxygen downstream from the point of sewage discharge. This causes mortality of fish and other aquatic creatures. Presence of large amount of nutrient in water also causes excessive growth of planktonic free-floating algae called an algal bloom, which impart a distinct color to the water bodies. Algal bloom cause deterioration of the water quality and fish mortality. Some bloom forming algae are extremely toxic to human beings and animals. You have seen the beautiful mauve-colored flower found in very happily shaped floating plant in water body. These plants, which were introduced into India for their lovely flower, have caused havoc by their excessive growth by causing blocks in our waterways. They grow faster than our ability to remove them. These are plants of water hacking Ecornia cassipes, the world's most problematic aquatic weeds, also called terror of Bengal. They grow abundantly in eutrophic water bodies and lead to an imbalances in the ecosystem dynamics of water bodies. Sewage from our home as well as from hospital are likely to contain many undesirable pathogenic microorganisms, and its disposal into a water without proper treatment by cause outbreak of serious diseases such as dysentery, typhoid, jaundice, cholera, etc. Unlike domestic sewage, wastewater from industries like petroleum, paper manufacturing, metal extraction and processing, chemical manufacturing, etc., often contain toxic substances, notably heavy metals defined as elements with density greater than 5 grams per cubic centimeter, such as mercury, cadmium, copper, lead, etc., and a variety of organic compounds. A few toxic substances often present in industrial wastewater can undergo biological magnification, biomagnification in the aquatic food chain. Biomagnification refers to increase in concentration of the toxicant at successive trophic level. This happens because a toxic substance accumulated by an organism cannot be metabolized or excreted, and is thus passed on to the next higher trophic level. This phenomenon is well known for mercury and DDT. Figure shows biomagnification of DDT is an aquatic food chain. In this manner, the concentration of DDT is increased at successive trophic level. Say, if it starts at 0.003 ppb part per billion in water, it can ultimately reach 25 ppm part per million in fish-eating bird through biomagnification. High concentration of DDT disturbs calcium metabolism in bird, which causes thinning of egg cell and their premature breaking, eventually causing decline in bird population. Purification is the natural aging of a lake by nutrient enrichment of its water. In a young lake, the water is cold and clear, supporting little life. With time, stream draining into the lake introduce nutrients such as nitrogen and phosphorus, which encourage the growth of aquatic organisms. As the lake's fertility increases, plant and animal life burgeon, and organic remains being to be deposited on the lake bottom. Over the centuries, as slits and organic debris piles up, the lake grows shallower and warmer. With warm water, organisms supplanting those that thrive in a cold environment. Marsh plants take root in the shallow and begin to fill in the original lake basin. Eventually, the lake gives way to large masses of floating plant bog, finally converting into land. Depending on climate, size of lake, and other factors, the natural aging of lake may span thousands of years. However, pollutant from man's activity like effluent from the industry and home can radically accelerate the aging process. This phenomenon has been called cultural or accelerated eutrophication. During the past centuries, lakes in many parts of the earth have been severely eutrophied by sewage and agricultural and industrial waste. The prime contaminant are nitrate and phosphate, which act as plant nutrients. They overstimulate the growth of algae, causing slightly scamp and unpleasant odor and robbing the water of dissolved oxygen vital to other aquatic life. At the same time, other pollutants flowing into a lake may poison whole population of fishes whose decomposing remain further depletes the water dissolved oxygen content. In such fashion, a lake can literally choke to death. Heated thermal wastewater flowing out of electricity generating unit, example thermal power plant, constitute another important category of pollutant. Thermal wastewater eliminates or reduces the number of organisms sensitive to high temperature and may enhance the growth of plant and fish in extremely cold area, but only after causing damage to the indigenous flora and fauna. A case study of integrated wastewater treatment. Wastewater including sewage can be treated in an integrated manner by utilizing a mix of artificial and natural processes. An example of such an initiative is the town of Arcata, situated along the north coast of the California. Collaborating with the biologists from the Humboldt State University, the town's people created an integrated wastewater treatment processes within a natural system. The cleaning occurs into two stages. A. The conventional sedimentation, filtering and chlorine treatment are given. After this stage, lots of dangerous pollutants like dissolved heavy metals still remain. To combat this, an innovative approach was taken, and B. The biology developed a series of 6 connecting marshes over 60 hectares of marshland. Appropriate plants, algae, fungi and bacteria were seeded into the area, which neutralize, absorb and assimilate the pollutant. Hence, as the water flows through the marshes, it gets purified naturally. The marshes also constitute a sanctuary with a high level of biodiversity in the form of fishes, animals and birds that now reside there. A citizen group called Friends of America Mars (FOAM) are responsible for the upkeep and safeguarding of this wonderful project. All this time we have assumed that removal of wastage require water, that is creation of sewage, but what if water is not necessary to dispose of human waste like excrete? Can you imagine the amount of water that one can save if one didn't have to flush the toilet? Well, this is already a reality. Ecological sanitation is substantiable system for handling human excreta using decomposing toilet. This is a practical, hygienic, efficient and cost-effective solution to human waste disposal. The key point to note here is that with this composition method, human excreta can be recycled into a resource as natural fertilizer, which reduce the need for chemical fertilizer. There are working eco-scan toilet in many areas of Kerala and Sri Lanka. Solid waste. Solid waste is refer to everything that goes out in trash. Municipal solid waste are waste from homes, office, store, school, hospital, etc. that are collected and disposed by the municipality. The municipal solid waste generally comprise paper, food waste, plastic, glass, metal, rubber, leather, textile, etc. Burning reduces the volume of waste, although it is generally not burned to completion. An open dump often serves as a breeding ground for rats and flies. Sanitary landfills were adopted as the substitute for open burning dump. In a sanitary landfill, waste are dumped in a depression or trench after compaction and covered with dirt every day. If you live in a town or city, do you know where the nearest landfill site is? Landfills are also not really much of a solution since the amount of garbage generation, especially in the metros, has increased so much that these sites are getting filled too. Also, there is danger of seepage of chemicals, etc. from these landfills polluting the underground water resources. A solution to all these can only be a human being becoming more sensitive to the environment issue. All waste that are generated can be categorized into three types: A. Biodegradable, B. Recyclable, and C. Non-biodegradable. It is important that all garbage generated is sorted. What can be reused or recycled should be separated out. Our Kavadiwala and rack pickers do a great job for separation of materials for recycling. The biodegradable materials can be put into deep pits in the ground and be left for natural breakdown. That leaves only the non-biodegradable to be disposed of. The need to reduce our garbage generation should be a prime goal. Instead, we are increasing the use of non-biodegradable product. Just pick any ready-made packet of any good quality eatable, say a biscuit packet, and study the packaging. Do you see the number of protective layers used? Note that at least one layer is of plastic. We have started packaging even our daily use product like milk and water in polybags. In cities, fruits and vegetables can be brought back in beautiful polystyrene and plastic packaging. We pay so much, and what do we do? Contribute heavily to environmental pollution. State government across the country are trying to push for reduction in use of plastic and use of eco-friendly packaging. We can do our bit by carrying cloth or our natural fiber carrying bag when we go shopping and by refusing polythene bag. Hospital generate hazardous wastes that contain disinfectant and other harmful chemical and also pathogenic microorganisms. Such waste also require careful treatment and disposal. The use of incinerator is crucial to disposal of hospital waste. Irreparable computer and other electronic goods are known as electronic waste, e-waste. E-waste are buried in landfill or incinerated. Over half of the e-waste generated in the developed world are exported to developing countries, mainly to China, India, Pakistan, where metal like copper, iron, silicon, nickel and gold are recovered during recycling processes. Unlike developed countries, which have specifically built facilities for recycling of e-wastes, Recycling in developing countries often involves manual participation, thus exposing workers to toxic substances present in e-waste. Recycling is the only solution for the treatment of e-waste, provided it is carried out in an environment-friendly manner. Case study of remedy for plastic waste. A plastic sack manufacturer in Bangalore has managed to find the ideal solution to the ever-increasing problem of accumulating plastic waste. Ahmed Khan, aged 57 years old, has been producing plastic sacks for 20 years. About 8 years ago, he realized that plastic waste was a real problem. Polybent, a fine powder of recycled modified plastic, was developed then by his company. This mixture is mixed with the bitumen that is used to lay roads. In collaboration with RB College of Engineering and Bangalore City Corporation, Ahmed Khan provides that blends of polyblend and bitumen when used to lay road enhance the bitumen's water repellent properties and help to increase road life by a factor of 3. The raw materials for creating polyblend is any plastic film waste. So against the price of rupees 0.4 per kg that rag pickers had been getting for plastic waste, Khan now offer rupees 6. Using Khan's technique, by the year 2002, more than 40 kilometers of road in Bangalore has already been laid. At this rate, Khan will soon be running short of plastic waste in Bangalore. To produce polyblend, thanks to innovation like polyblend, we might still avoid being smoothed by plastic waste. Agrochemical and their effects. In the wake of green innovation, use of inorganic fertilizer and pesticide has increased manifold for enhancing crop reproduction. Pesticide, herbicide, fungicide, etc. are being increasingly used. These incidentally are also toxic to non-target organisms that are important component of the soil ecosystem. Do you think these can be magnified in the terrestrial ecosystem? We now know that the addition of increasing amount of chemical fertilizers can do to the aquatic ecosystem vice versa eutrophication. The current problem of agriculture are therefore extremely grave. Case study of organic farming. Integrated organic farming is a cyclical zero waste reproducer where waste product from one process are cycled in as nutrient for the other processes. This allows the maximum utilization of resource and increases the efficiency of production. Ramesh Chandra Dagar, a farmer in Sonipat, Haryana, is doing just this. He includes beekeeping, dairy management, water harvesting, composting and agriculture in a chain of processes which support each other and allow an extremely economical and sustainable venture. There is no need to use chemical fertilizer for crops as cattle excreta, dung are used as manure. Crop waste is used to create compost which can be used as a natural fertilizer or can be used to generate natural gas for satisfying the energy need of the farm. Enthusiastic about spreading information and help on the practice of integrated organic farming, Dagar has created the Haryana Kisan Welfare Club with a current membership of 5,000 farmers. Radioactive waste. Initially, nuclear energy was held as a non-polluting way for generating electricity. Later on, it was realized that the use of nuclear energy has two very serious inherent problems. The first is accidental leakage, as occurred in the 3 Mile Island and Chernobyl incident, and the second is safe disposal of radioactive waste. Radiation that is given off by nuclear waste is extremely damaging to organisms because it causes mutation at a very high rate. At high dosage, nuclear radiation is lethal, but at lower dosage it creates various disorders, the most frequent of all being cancer. Therefore, nuclear waste is an extremely potent pollutant and has to be dealt with utmost caution. It has been recommended that storage of nuclear waste after sufficient pretreatment should be done in suitably sealed container buried within the rocks about 500 meters deep below the Earth's surface. However, this method of disposal is meeting steep opposition from the public. Why do you think this method of disposal is not agreeable to many people? Greenhouse effect and global warming. The term greenhouse effect has been derived from a phenomenon that occurs in a greenhouse. Have you ever seen a greenhouse? It looks like a small glass house and is used for growing plants, especially during winter. It is in a greenhouse. The glass panel lets the light in but does not allow heat to escape. Therefore, greenhouse warm up very much like inside a car that has been parked in the sun for a few hours. The greenhouse effect is a natural occurring phenomenon that is responsible for heating on Earth's surface and atmosphere. You would be surprised to know that without greenhouse effect, the average temperature at surface of Earth would have been a chilly 18 degrees minus 18 degrees centigrade rather than the present average of 15 degrees centigrade. In order to understand the greenhouse effect, it is necessary to know the fate of the energy of sunlight that reaches the outermost atmosphere. Cloud and gases reflect about one-fourth of the incoming solar radiation. They absorb some of it, but almost half of incoming solar radiation fall on Earth's surface hitting it, while a small proportion is deflected back. Earth's surface re-emits heat in the form of infrared radiation, but part of this does not escape into space as atmospheric gases. Example, carbon dioxide, methane, etc. absorb a major fraction of it. The molecule of these gases radiate heat energy, and a major part of which again comes to Earth's surface, thus heating it up once again. This cycle is repeated many times. The above mentioned gases, carbon dioxide and methane, are commonly known as greenhouse gases because they are responsible for greenhouse effect. Increase in the level of greenhouse gases has led to considerable heating on Earth, leading to global warming. During the past century, the temperature of Earth has increased by 0.6 degrees centigrade. Most of it during the last 3 decades. Scientists believe that this rise in temperature is leading to deleterious changes in the environment and resulting in hot climatic changes. Example, El Nino effect, thus leading to increased melting of polar ice caps as well as of other places like the Himalayan snow cap. Over many years, this will result in a rise in sea level that can submerge many coastal areas. The total spectrum of changes that global warming can bring out is a subject that is still under active research. How can we control global warming? The measures include cutting down use of fossil fuel, improving efficiency of energy usage, reducing deforestation, planting trees, and slowing down of growth of human population. International initiatives are also being taken to reduce the emission of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. Ozone depletion in the stratosphere. We have earlier studied in the chemistry textbook of class 11 about bad ozone formed in the lower atmosphere troposphere that harm plant and animal. There is good ozone also. This ozone is found in the upper part of the atmosphere called stratosphere, and it acts as a shield absorbing ultraviolet radiation from the sun. UV rays are highly injurious to living organisms since DNA and proteins of living organisms preferentially absorb UV rays, and its high energy breaks the chemical bonds within these molecules. The thickness of ozone in a column of air from the ground to the top of the atmosphere is measured in terms of Dobson unit (DU). Ozone gas is continuously formed by the active action of UV rays on molecular oxygen and also degraded into molecular oxygen in the stratosphere. There should be balance between production and degradation of ozone in the stratosphere. Of late, the balance has been disrupted due to enhancement of ozone degradation by chlorofluorocarbons (CFC). CFCs find wide use as refrigerant. CFCs discharged in the lower part of the atmosphere move upward and reach stratosphere. In stratosphere, UV rays act on them, releasing chlorine atom. Chlorine degrades ozone, releasing molecular oxygen. With this atom acting merely as catalyst, chlorine atoms are not consumed in the reaction. Hence, whatever CFC are added to the stratosphere, they have permanent and continuing effect on ozone level. Although ozone depletion is occurring widely in the stratosphere, the depletion is particularly marked over the Antarctic region. This has resulted in the formation of a large area of thin ozone layer, commonly called as the ozone hole. UV radiation of wavelength shorter than UVB are almost completely absorbed by Earth's atmosphere, given that the ozone layer is intact, but UVB damages DNA and mutation may occur. It causes aging of skin, damage of skin cell, and various types of skin cancer. In human eye, cornea absorbs UVB radiation, and a high dose of UVB causes inflammation of cornea called snow blindness, cataract, etc. Such exposure may permanently damage the cornea. Recognizing the deleterious effect of ozone depletion, in international treaty known as Montreal Protocol was signed at Montreal, Canada in 1987, effective in 1989, to control the emission of ozone depleting substances. Subsequently, many more efforts have been made and protocol have laid down definite roadmap severely for developed and developing countries for reducing the emission of CFC and other ozone depleting chemicals. Degradation by improper resource utilization and maintenance. The degradation of natural resources can occur not just by the action of pollutant but also by proper resource utilization practices. Soil erosion and desertification. The development of fertile topsoil takes centuries, but it can be removed very easily due to human activities like over-cultivation, unrestricted grazing, deforestation, and poor irrigation practices, resulting in arid patches of land. When large barren patches extend and meet over time, a desert is created. Internationally, it has been recognized that desertification is a major problem nowadays, particularly due to increased urbanization. Waterlogging and soil salinity. Irrigation without proper drainage of water leading to waterlogging in the soil, besides affecting the crops, Waterlogging draws salt to the surface of the soil. The salt then is deposited as a thin crust of the land surface or start collecting at the roots of the plant. This increased salt content is inimical to the growth of crop and is extremely damaging to agriculture. Waterlogging and soil salinity are some of the problems that have come in the wake of the Green Revolution. Deforestation. Deforestation is the conversion of forest area to a non-forest one. According to an estimate, almost 40% forests have been lost in the tropic compared to only 1% in the temperate region. The present scenario of deforestation is particularly grim in India. At the beginning of the 20th century, forest covered about 30% of the land of India. By the end of century, it shrunk to 21.54%, whereas the National Forest Policy of India has recommended 33% of forest covered for the plains and 67% for the hills. How does deforestation occur? A number of human activities contribute to it. One of the major reasons is the conversion of forest to agricultural land and so as to feed the growing human population. Trees are used for timber, firewood, cattle ranching and for several other purposes. Slash and burn agriculture, commonly called as jhum cultivation in the northeastern state of India, has also contributed to deforestation. In slash and burn agriculture, the farmer cut down the trees of forest and burn the plant remains. The ash is used as a fertilizer and the land is then used for farming or cattle grazing. After cultivation, the area is left for several years so as to allow its recovery. The farmers then move on to other areas and repeat this process. In earlier days, the jhum cultivation was in prevalence. Enough time gap was given so that the land recovered from the effect of cultivation. With increasing population, the repeated cultivation, this recovery phase is done away with, resulting in deforestation. What are the consequences of deforestation? One of the major effects is enhanced carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere because trees that could hold a lot of carbon in their biomass are lost with deforestation. Deforestation also causes loss of biodiversity due to habitat destruction, disturbed hydrologic cycle, causes soil erosion and may lead to desertification in extreme cases. Reforestation is the process of restoring a forest that once existed but was removed at some point of time in the past. Deforestation may occur naturally in the deforested area, however, we can speed it up by planting trees with due consideration of biodiversity that earlier existed in that area. Case study of people's participation in conservation of forest. People's participation has a long history in India. In 1731, the king of Jaipur in Rajasthan asked his minister to arrange wood for constructing new palace. The minister and worker went to forest near a village inhabited by Bishnoi to cut down trees. The Bishnoi community is known for its peaceful coexistence with nature. The effort to cut down trees by the king was thwarted by Bishnoi. A Bishnoi woman, Amrita Devi, showed exemplary courage by hugging a tree and daring king's men to cut her first before cutting the trees. The tree mattered much more than her own life. Sadly, the king's men did not heed to her pleas and cut down the trees along with Amrita Devi. Her three daughters and hundreds of other businessmen followed her and thus lost their lives saving trees. Now here is a history. Do we find a commitment of this magnitude when human beings sacrifice their lives for the cause of the environment? The government of India had recently instituted the Amrita Devi Vishnu Wildlife Protection Award for individual or communities from rural areas that have shown extraordinary courage and dedication in protecting wildlife. You may have heard of Chipko movement of Garhwal Himalaya. In 1974, local women showed enormous bravery in protecting trees from the axe of contractor by hugging them. People all over the world have acclaimed the Chipko movement. Realizing the significance of participation by local communities, the Government of India in 1980 has introduced the concept of Joint Forest Management (JFM) so as to work closely with the local communities for protecting and managing forests. In return for their service to the forest, the communities get benefited of various forest products, example fruits, gum, rubber, medicine, etc. And thus the forest can be conserved in a sustainable manner.